Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I am looking at The Incredible Hulk, number 332. Alright, this book is one that's going to be I guess I'm going to do an ongoing series of the Peter David Hulk run. I already did the first issue of his long-standing run. He did a fill-in issue. I haven't done a video of it. Maybe I'll go back and do it. But then about 3 issues after that, he took over as the regular writer. And of course, he started his run with none other than Todd McFarlane. McFarlane does not do this cover. This is Geiger and McLeod does the cover. If you'll notice, we got 2 Hulks and then something in the background right here. I've never quite understood why they didn't let McFarlane do some of these earliest covers, because McFarlane took over an issue before Peter David, actually, and he did do the cover on that one. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe they didn't feel quite comfortable with it, but McFarlane at this time, I think he may have still even been finishing up some of his DC work while he was working on this. So maybe he just didn't have time to do covers. I don't know. Anyway, the inker in this is Fred Fredericks. And as we go through this, you're going to see a lot of heavier lines on McFarlane than you've probably ever seen. You're also going to see a lot less of the little noodling stuff that we would mostly associate with McFarlane. Also, when you think of McFarlane's Hulk, this brow isn't quite as pronounced. And I wonder if that's something that he just evolves into as he gets comfortable with the character, or if it's something that the inker kind of scaled back a little bit. Because even in the last issue, the Hulk didn't quite have that brow. So there's an interesting play on things here. In the last issue we left off, this guy reveals himself. He's the leader that's been kind of devolved back into a normal human state. And he is here he's telling the Hulk he's going to try to help the Hulk stay the Hulk, get rid of Banner permanently, as long as, he helps him become the leader again. The Gray Hulk is, he's not the dumb green Hulk. He's craftier and meaner, and he's willing to take that gamble to let the leader be the leader again, as long as he gets to stay the Hulk all the time. But first we're going to start off with some flashback as to why he devolved. And he essentially says it wore off. The gamma wore off, where Banner and the Hulk would change back and forth, that their gamma, I guess, just he didn't use it all up. But in his case, where he just permanently stayed in the leader form, it just kind of wore off over time. And it's almost like Flowers for Algernon kind of tale, where he realizes it's slipping when he forgets things, to the point where he eventually forgets the secret code to his lab. So then he goes out into the world, and he's just trying to make money until it dawns on him, I'm going to head to Gamma Base and find Bruce Banner and make him help me. Because he could still remember who he was and what he was capable of, but he just didn't have that gamma-powered intellect that made him the leader. Great panel. Both of these panels are great, with the Hulk and the shadow. This is something I mostly associate with McFarlane, is eyes and teeth in the shadow like that. And that face, that angle on the face, and the smirk. Because the leader's basically saying, you're going to help me or else. And he says, or else you'll what? Or I'll force you to. He's like, ha, 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 ha. And you kind of leave it at that. Subplot going on with this guy showing up claiming to be Betty's husband, estranged husband. He's at the gate. And then I believe it was just the last issue, there was a training exercise of these Hulkbusters, who are kind of mostly scientists. He's an ex-military man. Larroquette, I believe is his name. And he's all bent up because in a training exercise, a woman that he was starting to have a relationship with was killed. And of course he blames the Hulk and wants to go after the Hulk, alone if he has to. And he's going a little bit crazy, and even his teammates are like, you're losing your mind. We're not going to let you do this. And obviously he got hurt because he's got, cast and something around his waist and stuff. And Samson had been beaten up. I think he got hit in the first McFarlane issue, he got injured by this thing that clamped to the heads. And like I was saying, look at these thick ink lines just around the outline of the characters. And I think Frederick's really trying to take some of the things that make McFarlane. I mean, this is a McFarlane face, the vertical panel, the big eyes. But yeah, it's these heavy ink lines take some of the shine off for sure. So the Larroquette guy gets in, some kind of Hulk-busting tank, and he's heading out to find the Rick Jones Hulk. And they know it's Rick Jones at this point because Bruce blurted it out in the last issue, which is kind of how Rick blurted it out that Bruce Banner was the Hulk way back in Tales to Astonish. And Quartermain allows him to do it. Quartermain is the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that was kind of in charge of Gamma Base. It's daytime now. Rick is wandering off into the desert. A lot of just inner monologue. This is more or less recapping everything that's happened up to this point. Banner finds himself trapped in the cave. And if you're familiar with Hulk, in those first few issues of Hulk, Banner actually used to trap the Hulk in this concrete cave with a big, huge steel door. So he couldn't get out at night. He would go in the Banner would go in the cave. He would turn into the Hulk at night, and Rick would keep the door shut. But the Hulk now is using this to keep Banner trapped during the day. Rick kind of making his way, and the Hulkbuster tank rolls up, and at first he's like, oh good, Gamma Base found me. Hey, thanks for the ride, give me a ride back. And then the cannon rolls around, and he starts going after Rick. Fortunately, Doc Samson shows up to, put an end to it, and he gets blasted in the face. That's a good shot. This seems very McFarlane-y too, with this short McFarlane loved these vertical panels. I really like the long one, but even doing stuff like that. And I think that some of that comes from Frank Miller, maybe. This is a cool scene of Banner in the cave. It's getting close to nighttime. He feels the change coming on, and in his head, he starts feeling like he's having this conversation with the Hulk. It's pretty interesting. The Hulk is walking him through it. He's you feel your legs getting bigger and your arms stronger and blah, blah, blah. He's but I need something from you. I need to remember how to work these machines. And now that you're thinking about it, you can't stop thinking about it, and I'm going to remember it. Which is an interesting take on the Hulk and Banner at this point. That's never really been a thing. The Hulk is I need a little piece of information from Banner, and I know that when I change to Banner, I can maybe get something out of him. And in fact, the Green Savage Hulk always thought Banner was a separate person altogether. And there wasn't really much communication between the Hulk and Banner ever before. This may be something, as far as I know, this is a new thing that Peter David was really introducing to the Hulk in general. So I bet McFarlane wanted to go a little farther with how this was done, with him being absorbed into the body of the Hulk. Because it's really just kind of energy beams. But I thought this is an interesting shot. It looks like the Hulk's almost eating his head. But it works, what he was wanting to do. He wanted to remember how to use the gamma machinery, and he's going to do it. And then he comes out, and he talks about how Banner used to use that to hold him in, and Stearns, who is the leader, needs to let him out. This subplot with Betty's estranged husband I don't remember it panning out to be much of anything. Now Rick is the Hulk again. He's out there because Rick turns at night too. This is a weird thing that's going on. The Gray Hulk is triggered by nighttime, and so is Rick's Green Hulk. And Rick's Hulk is, at first, he can kind of exert a little control over it, but as it goes along, he's talking like Hulk's smash. Hulk doesn't understand, blah, blah, blah. Hulk remembers you now. You Hulk that was. So they have kind of a not too long of a fight. Good one right there of Grey Hulk getting hit. I like this too. Calm. Getting like hit on the shoulders. This is crazy. He's like just completely going into him. That's kind of like the Kirby shortcut of like hitting and stuff. It's like you just see like the arm going in, and like instead of drawing like the face getting hit and stuff, there'd just be like an energy blast and stuff. Kind of a cheap way out. I don't know that McFarlane quite pulls it off right here. I guess that's in the back, really. It's like hitting him in the back. He subdues the Grey Hulk, though, subdues the Rick Hulk. There's the ambulance from the last issue. Good continuity there. This Jeep that I don't know where the Jeep came from. Anyway, he subdues the Rick Hulk. Or I guess he doesn't subdue him. He just brings him in. And Stearns is already hooked up to this machine. And the plan is to bring in the Rick Hulk and sap the gamma off of him. And so they do that. He zaps it off of him and it transfers to Stearns. And as he does it, Rick turns back to Rick, and Stearns becomes the popcorn head leader. And this is a new interpretation of the leader. You'd always had more like the straight up and down cone head, and now you get that like Jiffy Pop aluminum foil popcorn head. Some people have called him the butt head. I always preferred the popcorn head. I think it looks more like popcorn. That's a bumpy looking butt if it's a butt head. And that's pretty much how it ends, except it blows up, and Rick is like, Hulk, we got to get out of here. He's like, you're on your own. So that shows you how mean the Grey Hulk was. At least initially. You know, at the end, he's still the Hulk, and he has a heart of gold at the end. He really does. But right here, he's being awfully mean, right? Next, quality of life. So Peter David, tying up some of the loose ends left over from the previous writer, which was Al Milgrom. They had this Rick Jones Hulk. Let's get rid of that. There's a Grey Hulk that they haven't really done much with yet. Let's really start using the Grey Hulk. And you know what? Let's bring the best adversary for the Hulk back, the leader. So, good start. It's really starting to roll now. And, I'll be back soon with another issue. Until then, read your comics.